Hi, I'm Nick DeHoyos from Lakeview High School.
And I'm Hannah King from Central High School.
This week, we're headed to the classroom.
That's right. SAISD News recently visited a number of classrooms around the district where a variety of learning activities were taking place.
We began at Austin Elementary, where students were working on math rotations.
By rotating through several different stations, students in Ms. Dirth's class were able to practice skills they've been learning this year, including multiplication, decimals, and place value. Each station featured a different learning activity or game to reinforce students' understanding of these skills.
One of the activities that we're doing is the students are generating a multiplication problem by using dice, and then they are writing out the steps that they do to solve that problem. And then they are creating a multiplication word problem to go with their generated problem. And then they also are writing an analogy with math vocabulary to operations. We also are comparing numbers in the millions, and they're comparing things like greater than, less than, even and odd, common numbers in certain places. We're also doing one on decimals, where they create a flower and they're doing different things like decimals to fractions to models to addition problems to inequalities. We've been working on 2-digit by 1-digit multiplication this week, and they are playing a game where they are creating a math problem, and then they are solving it and checking it on the calculator, and then they also at the end are going to answer a question for me how that this activity applies to their real life situation. I think rotations are very beneficial because the children have many opportunities to practice their skills, and it gives me an opportunity to check for their understanding. The teacher time rotation that they come back to, that is my opportunity to check each and every child individually to see if they understand what I've been teaching during the week.
Students at Bowie Elementary also recently did rotations to learn about physical science.
Students in Miss Howard's class were studying light reflection and refraction. Students performed a variety of games and activities while exploring the way light interacts with different objects such as prisms and water drops.
They are finding out that if you look through a concave or a convex lens, that light bends in different ways. They're finding out that if light waves travel through a prism, that they can look at the color spectrum. They find out that white light is made up of all the colors. That drops of water can magnify like a convex lens, and playing some games with vocabulary and different light concepts. There are so many things that I like to do on each particular topic that if I break it up into stations, then we can cover a lot of material in a period of 2 or 3 days. And plus it does make it more fun. That's vital.
SAISD News recently visited several classrooms at Santa Rita Elementary, where students were engaging in a variety of fun learning activities.
We begin in Mrs. Peterson's class, where students got to see a demonstration of spinning wool into yarn. The demonstration tied into the class's vocabulary and reading lessons and was meant to increase the students' comprehension of what they had learned.
One of the stories that we were doing in our basal reader was What About Me? And it talked about a marketplace, and one of our vocabulary words was thread. And I brought the spinning wheel to show the kids how you actually create thread from fuzz. And I also this morning read them a book about Wilbur, who's a bit of a free spirit, and this takes them from the wool to the fabric. And the kids got in groups and worked on sequencing the steps that he went through, which is another lesson we've been working on. And now I'm going to demonstrate using the spinning wheel and show the kids how you spin wool into yarn.
Next, we go to Miss Watkins' class, where students gave reports on desert animals they've been studying.
We've been studying in our reader A Walk in the Desert, and we took it and we read Around One Cactus, and the children decided which animal in the desert they would like to research. We chose the Sonoran Desert since it is in the United States. They researched their animal, they wrote a report about it, then they made a poster and shared it with the class.
Baby kit foxes need to eat about 100 pounds in its first 2 months of life. When running, a kit fox reaches a speed of 25 miles per hour. Their pale color makes them almost invisible to see against the desert sands. After mating, about 4 or 5 babies are born. Rattlesnakes, they eat small, warm-blooded animals. The snake eats their prey. Its pattern is white, brown, and black. Elf owls. The elf owl eats small rodents and insects. 2, they have greenish yellowish eyes. 3, the elf owl's nest can get to 15 to 30 feet above land. We love desert animals!
Lastly, let's check out Miss Elliott's first grade class, where students have been learning about heat and cold. The class had an ice-a-thon in which students explored various ways to melt ice and also to prevent it from melting.
The first part of the ice-a-thon, the children were to try to make a cube of ice melt as quickly as they could. So we talked about how they would melt their ice cube, and as with a partner, they worked together to try to melt it as fast as they could. And then the second part of the activity, we got some materials to try to keep the ice cube from melting, and they insulated their cup to see who could keep their ice cube the longest. The kids have a really good time doing it, but they also learn better as they're doing it. They actually see how if they touch something that's cold, how it makes it warmer, and how their hands get colder as well. So they feel the loss of the heat from their hands to the cold object, and they also see the ice melting. So it's a good hands-on activity. They tend to learn a little bit better when they can actually do it rather than just hear about it or see it.
Well, that's all for this week's episode. But before we go, I'd like to congratulate our very own Hannah King on being named this year's Central High School Homecoming Queen. Congratulations, Hannah.
Thank you, Nick. And thank you all for watching this episode of SAISD News. We'll see you next time. Bye.